Howdy guys, Bookie Laura here. If you've been keeping up to date with my channel, then you will know that I had one of the best experiences of my life last weekend because I went to Salisbury Literary Festival. It was amazing. Please check out my vlog on it. And I did say at the time that I would do a video kind of hauling a haul of the books that I bought on the day, because my word, are there a mountain of them, and I'm very excited about each and every one of them, so I can't wait to share them with you. So when we arrived in the morning, we went and took part in a crafty workshop around the book The Very Long Sleep by Noakes, which we then bought and have a signed copy of somewhere, which is absolutely amazing. She was just the sweetest woman that I've ever met. She spent so long talking to my son. He was a bit nervous at the start of the day and unsure of himself, didn't want to get involved in the activities, and she took the time to really encourage him to, which was really lovely. I thought she was a really lovely person. The book itself is a picture book about a little fox and all his friends, and then at some point they all go to sleep and look at his little face. You don't know what's going on, and he's really sad and he misses them, but then in the end he sets off the alarm clocks and it wakes them all up, and it's just wonderful. And it ends with him going around and meeting all these other animals and asking them if they hibernate, and I think it's just such a really sweet book, and the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. You know, nothing complicated, nothing intense, it's just exactly what you need with young children, you know, a cute story that they're going to fall in love with. After that, we went along and listened to Kristina Stephenson telling a story about Sir Charlie Stinky Socks. After that, I couldn't resist picking up a copy of Charlie Stinky Socks, The Dinosaur's Return, with giant flaps, apparently. The thing I think that will always stick with me about this book was watching her tell the story. I mean, she is a sort of fantastic performer, and she really performed the story. And even now when we read it, I mean, Sir Charlie Stinky Socks is a brilliant character because he's so relatable, because all children have stinky socks. We got it signed, which was wonderful. But it's just a fantastic story because it's really simple. I mean, my son loves dinosaurs. Every child loves a book that they can sort of turn pages in and what have you. But what I really, really like about it is the idea that it's taking, sorry, I'm wiggling around a lot. It's taking a really young children's book and, yeah, and introducing the young children to series, because at the end of the book, it almost says, it leads into the next book. It says, oh, we're going to go over there and have a really big adventure. And I think that my son was then straight away like, I need to know what's going to happen. So I really loved the way that this was performed, and I think that that's led to my son wanting to reread it to sort of relive that moment, which was wonderful. In between those, we went along to Waterstones, because that is the biggest bookshop chain in the UK, and I could spend an absolute fortune in there. I saw this book and I thought it looked amazing. It's The Big Book of Beasts. It's by Yuval Zommer, I think that's how you pronounce it. And it just is the most amazing sort of fact book about animals that I have ever seen. I think particularly for young children who are just starting to read, it's not, oops, there's my receipt. It's not overloaded with information. Each fact is kind of like presented on its own, which is much more accessible to young children. They can read that amount of information in one go. I think it's going to be one of those books that you kind of like dip into and dip out of, because it is massive. And like I say, I just think it's a really good way of introducing fact books to children who are just beginning to read. He did do a workshop on the Sunday, which we had intended to go to. However, after Saturday and being such a long day, we didn't get home till late. In the end, we decided to give it a miss. Then in the early evening, we went to a workshop, which I described in my vlog, which was about how to create monsters, led by two authors, Rupert Wallis and Dave Rudden. And that was probably one of my favourite events in the whole day, because they did a really good job of sort of presenting it in a creative way and getting children involved. This is also where my favourite book of the whole day came to light. When Rupert Wallis was describing the book, and he said basically there are these monster hunters, and then there's this girl that comes along called Ruby, and I teach a girl called Ruby, so the name appealed to me. And then she discovers that she wants to be a monster hunter, but she's told that she can't because she's a girl, and then she sort of is inspired and motivated to prove that she can do it. And I think for me, oh, that is one of the most appealing things to me, is a girl achieving her dreams despite being told that she can't because of her gender. I mean, this is going to be a wonderful book. It's called The Boy with One Name by J R Wallis. It is the first book that I've started reading, and I've read half of it in one day, which is unheard of for me. Cannot put it down. Absolutely love it. It was Dave Rudden who was doing the workshop with Rupert Wallace, and his book is Knights of the Borrowed Dark. I don't know a whole bunch about it. I think I have the sort of attention span of a goldfish, so when people are describing books, I'm often just like concentrating on nodding and what have you, not paying enough attention. However, he did take the time and did a reading during it of when the character comes into contact with one of the monsters, this creepy old lady, and the way that he described it, and it was so creepy that I just thought, you know, I'm not 100% sure that this book sort of plot appeals to me. However, this is a perfect book for boys of an age that I teach who are just sort of just getting into it, but you know, haven't found the right book yet. I thought if I read them that extract, that creepy extract, they would fall in love with that book straight away. And then the final workshop that I went to of the day was a book talk by James Nicol and Emma Carroll, and then I picked up their books. Emma Carroll I fell in love with when I read the Letters from the Lighthouse earlier in the year, and I plan to read all of her books now. So while I was there, I picked up Frost Hollow Hall. It was the one that sort of appealed to me the most. There were a few Emma Carroll books there, and I read the sort of synopsis of them. It seems like it involves ghosts, and it just really appealed to me, so I'm looking forward to reading that. And I know that she's just such a good writer, so I hope it's kind of a mystery like the others. And then The Apprentice Witch by James Nicol. This appealed to me because as a child I loved, you know, all of the Worst Witch and Harry Potter, so there's that sort of magical child element that appealed to me, but also the fact that the main character, Ariane Wynne, fails her witch's assessment, and, you know, it's just like reminded me of The Worst Witch. And then when he was describing some of the creatures that she comes into, I thought, oh, it sounds cool, it sounds cool. So these are all the books which I picked up at Salisbury Literary Festival. I know it may not seem that much, but, you know, I paid full price for all of them, but I couldn't resist. They're all signed except for the one who I didn't meet, and I'm very excited about reading each and every one of them, so I'm really glad to have shared them with you. Let me know if you've read any of them, or if you have, what signed books you've got, because I'm really interested in that. Until today, I only had 2, and now I have a whole mountain of them, and it's very exciting. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.